This is Up Close with Bill Nye. I'm Joel Gallegos, a member of NAFSA's Board of Directors and Assistant Provost for International Programs at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
It's so good to be here.
We're delighted to have you with us.
So good to be had.
So, Mr. Nye, you've been an advocate for science education throughout your entire career. But while you focused at the start about getting our younger generations excited about science, you now focus on reminding adults, we adults, the importance of science in our lives. And so are you surprised by that shift?
I'm not surprised that the troubling thing, let me put it this way. There are people running around today thinking that the earth might be flat. That is pretty frustrating.
Yes. So our conference theme this year is Diverse Voices, Shared Commitment. What does that mean to you?
Well, my big thing nowadays is, speaking of space exploration, when you look at the earth from space, we live on a ball, and yet it's a large enough movement that I'm even talking about it, that the earth might be flat.
Well, if I could follow up with that point.
Okay. You're going to be living in a dome, and when you go outside, you're going to put on a spacesuit, which is just a smaller dome.
Certainly. So what strategies can we as international education professionals employ to better support our students focused on science study?
Everybody knows the earth is a sphere, right? Everybody knows that. You've seen the pictures, right?
Yes.
Or a geoid, very close to a sphere, yeah.
Your organization, the Planetary Society, advocates for space education and exploration.
Science.
So why is space exploration so important for today's global citizens?
The technology that derives from space is extraordinary. We wouldn't have the internet without NASA, for example. None of this would be possible without science.
What needs to be done now? What can we do to ensure our planet's health for the next generation?
We have people in Antarctica doing very important research, but you don't go there to raise your family. There's no playgrounds with swing sets and so on. So a presidential candidate did not have a child trafficking ring in a pizza restaurant near the White House in the U.S. That didn't happen. And so this is what the Planetary Society works on.
Right.
The earth is not flat.
Well, that was the perfect segue into my next question. You've suggested that for the U.S. to remain globally competitive, it must be open to new ideas, many of which comes from scientific research. And so how can we as educators best communicate and convey the importance of evidence-based information?
Well, first of all, as an educator, we want science every day in every grade, from preschool through high school. And then every liberal arts institution, no matter what it is, should have, in my opinion, some science requirements, especially what you might call the philosophy, what we used to call natural philosophy. And so you got to learn why it changes. Why do we change our views of certain of the cosmos and our place within it, of the chances that there are life on Mars, that there used to be, people used to think there were canals of water, and they're not canals of water. And then the efficacy of vaccines. And
you mentioned research, as we think about our group here this week in Philadelphia, what are your thoughts on the values and impact that international students and scholars have who work or study at our universities in the United States?
Mickey Mouse is in China, for crying out loud. McDonald's is worldwide. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm saying that's just a feature. And so having people exposed to where that all starts, I think, is of great value.
How can we as educators and our students rethink our approach, solving today's biggest problems, especially when working with international colleagues and partners who often share different viewpoints, perspectives, or political perspectives?
I say all the time, space exploration brings out the best in us. By us, I mean citizens of the world. And the second very real thing, and I'm not kidding, a key idea, I think, in let's call it global peace, is centralized government. And I think that's priceless.
It certainly aligns with
Think about it globally. It's raising the standard of living of girls and women.
It is indeed.
But it's a hard thing to do. Barely. Anyway, if we were talking about climate change, the way we're talking about other important issues, what went on in Ferguson, Missouri, or Baltimore, or Charlottesville, we'd be getting it done.
You know, in terms of that collaboration, at our conference this year, we have a program focused on the STEM field, specifically on rethinking our approaches to 21st century global challenges.
Well, people whose perspectives are different from yours are wrong, right? Right?
Well, I greatly appreciate your perspective in encouraging us all to be the change that we would like to see in the world.
And a big insight, everybody, just keep in mind, farming is not natural.
Well, you know, our conference is focused on increasing opportunities for international education and exchange for all students, regardless of backgrounds or academic or career goals. And so why do you see this as the benefit? So beyond getting to know one another, what are some of the more intrinsic benefits of this international education exchange?
I've been to Africa just a couple times. You can meet people who have long traditions of superstition, long traditions of anecdotes. Getting those people in the developing world to evaluate evidence properly is the new challenge.
So thank you again for joining us this afternoon, Mr. Nye.
I cannot stomach this shit. I can't. I don't know how you guys do it. You're amazing.
Every day I spend my time drinking wine, feeling fine, waiting here to find a sign that I can understand. Yes, I am. In the days between the hours, I read towers, bloody flowers, push their heads into the air. I don't care if I ever know.
None of this would be possible without science.